the part from the fourth turning, one of the things that he mentioned was this idea of weak men create hard times, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men. And the last time we've had this type of scenario was World War II, right? Do you believe in that? And we actually at the very end of that conversation, we came to this like kind of conclusion, which was with Bitcoin, we finally have the tool to finally break that cycle, right? And it's that cycle of learning that you need to go back on a sound money, right? And that lesson takes sometimes 100 years, 150 years, right? Yep. And I think we're slowly starting to learn that lesson with all this pain. I think Bitcoiners already know, but I'm talking about the NPCs.
Right. And, if you hear Jeff Booth talk about it, he said there's just no choice. Like there's just no choice. This is the only direction it can go. All paths lead to Bitcoin. All paths lead to Bitcoin, and I agree. The fourth turning, I do believe, from what I know and what I've heard about it, I do believe that's where we are. And this echoes 1940 more than it echoes 70 by far. So it makes a lot of sense, and it's unfortunate, but here we are 80 years later. Here we are, and this experiment with fiats, this is all anybody's known that's alive. They've only known the fiat experiment, but that's not true who's alive. But anybody in our little world here, like we've only known the fiat experiment. I mean, unless you were born in the 40s it's insanity. So, yeah.
Oh man. So James, and again, not financial advice, right? But if you were to anticipate what is going, Ron Paul has the theory of the crack up boom. If you were to anticipate and I'm a big believer in the fact that I think a lot of things are going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years that are going to define lifetimes, right? Are we going to see a break? What is your expectation for the U.S. economy? Has the stock market hit a bottom? Do you believe we're going to go back down to the 2,500 levels? I've heard that about. So what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I'm not going to make a prediction on the markets, but I can tell you that I do think that we go lower. I do think that there's more pain ahead of us. I do think that the markets are ahead of themselves, and they're the thing to watch is the bond markets. Bond markets know they're sniffing this out. The rates are going up, and that means that the market's going low. The stock market, the equity markets are going lower. That also means that there's risk that Bitcoin and gold go lower. So what do? Well, for me, I think it's prudent. This is me, and everybody's got a different investment profile. So you have to take this with a huge grain of salt. This is not for everybody. It depends on how old you are, how much you have in savings, what assets you have, what your income is. They're all huge inputs to all this. However, I think it's prudent to have some cash right now. I do. I think it's prudent to have some as you pick away, as this thing bottoms out, and you pick away, a little bit at a time, and you find those super high conviction investments that you believe that once we do come out on the other side of this next year, that will take off. Because once they do, you won't get a chance to buy them at these levels. They'll just be gone. So it will turn, I do believe we'll have, this kind of, we'll bump around these levels and go lower, and then we'll have like a hockey stick recovery out of it, and that's what I believe, because I think that once the Fed does make it clear that they're pausing or pivoting, it's game on, because everybody knows the money printer goes, and when the money printer goes, M2 expands, and when the MT money supply expands, things like stocks, Bitcoin, gold, they all go up and fast. And I think that Bitcoin's going to lead the way.